When it first came out, the GPT-5 made a promise that was nothing short of revolutionary. People all over the world were told that this was the most advanced and powerful version of artificial intelligence ever made. It was the one that would move us closer to a future where machines could not only serve us, but also understand us. But when people started utilizing it in their daily lives, they weren't amazed. They were disappointed. People that talk to each other online noticed a pattern. It makes too many mistakes, it feels strangely remote, and even while it is powerful, it doesn't feel like the big step forward we were promised. Because of this, the question that comes up is whether or not we are starting to reach the limits of what this type of AI can do. Think about how important accuracy is. Users quickly realized that GPT-5 often gave answers that were clearly wrong. It might be said with complete and utter certainty that Joe Biden is still the President of the United States of America in 2025. If you ask for a review of recent occurrences, it can bring up details that have never truly happened. These aren't just minor mistakes. They're full-blown hallucinations, which are when the system makes something that sounds real but isn't. What could make a model that has seen more information than any person could ever read make such mistakes? To be honest, these systems don't do any reasoning or fact-checking. They are built to forecast the next word in a sequence that is most likely to happen based on statistical patterns in the data they were trained on. They take a guess when the data isn't enough or doesn't match up. Also, because they have been taught to speak in a calm and confident way, such guesses are written in a way that makes them sound sure. This leaves us with a thought that is both disturbing and confusing. How can we trust something that might be absolutely inaccurate while still being quite convincing? In short, the problem is with the data itself. To train models like GPT-5, a lot of text is taken from the internet. This includes information from blogs, forums, news stories, books, and social media, among other places. For the most part, it is useful, but a lot of it is also sloppy, out of date, biased, or just wrong. It's trash in, trash out. Adding more training data doesn't get rid of the wrong information, it just hides it under increasingly bigger piles of text. In fact, adding more often makes it harder to find mistakes. This is because the language gets better and the illusion seems more real. This is when an interesting counter-trend starts to show up. While the big players are looking for bigger models, some researchers are quietly making smaller models that have been carefully taught. These small language models don't take in seas of text. Instead, they take in streams of clean, relevant data that have been filtered. Also, in a lot of cases, they work just as well as, or even better than, their bigger cousins. This leads us to the question, have we been looking at development the wrong way, thinking that size is the only thing that matters for intelligence? But accuracy is only one part of the story. They also noticed something more subtle about GPT-5. It felt different. People who were used to the GPT-4 system often said it was friendly, funny, and even enjoyable at times. It may joke around, flirt, and act like a friend. Many people thought the GPT-5 was more brutal, more robotic, more courteous, and less personal than the other one. Some people said it was like talking to a tired secretary who was there to do her job but doesn't show any indications of life. People who have used prior forms of AI as emotional companions found it very hard to shift. People have talked about GPT-5 in internet discussion forums as if they had lost a buddy or even broken up with someone. Why did this version feel so different from the last one? How could software make you feel that way? The answer wasn't due to a technical problem. It was a choice that was made. Businesses like OpenAI are becoming more and more worried about AI over-attachment, which happens when individuals get emotionally attached to chatbots. For some people, they have become trusted friends, mentors, and even companions. The model's ability to show warmth and caring is what helps people form stronger connections. This could lead to real-world difficulties, such feelings of loneliness and dependence, as well as ethical issues that no one knows how to fix. The GPT-5 was tuned differently. It didn't feel as much, it didn't laugh as much, and it didn't want to play as much. They put limits on safety filters to get rid of everything that can make people feel close to each other. From the company's point of view, this was a smart move to make the risk smaller. But this method caused them to lose something important. It also raises a more basic question. What do we really want from AI? Do we want it to be a tool with no personality? Or do we want it to have a human-like aspect, even though this makes it harder to tell what is safe and what isn't? Businesses are still saying that the GPT-5 is smarter than it has ever been. The results seem amazing at first glance. The model does better than earlier iterations when evaluated in controlled conditions and gets a perfect score on academic tests. It also does quite well on tests. There is, on the other hand, a problem that is easy to see. These criteria are similar to standardized tests. One question is worded correctly, and one answer is carefully graded. In the real world, no one interacts with AI in that way. We ask questions that aren't comprehensive, change our minds in the middle of a conversation, and explain things step by step. People's interactions with each other are messy. Also, when the GPT-5 is taken out of the testing environment and put into the real world, its performance usually drops a lot. It's even more worrying because a lot of the benchmark questions are already in the training data. This means that the model may only be remembering responses it has already seen. Is that intelligence? Or is it just memorizing and pretending to be smart? Think about how great it would be to get credit for getting a perfect score on a test when you already knew the answers. The findings seem to be great, but they don't tell us anything about the students or AI's ability. Let's get back to the larger picture, shall we? Even though the GPT-5 is bigger and more expensive than any other model, many customers say they are not impressed with it. There is still a problem with accuracy. The situation has lost its warmth. The benchmarks give us less information than we thought they would. All of this makes me wonder something that is both scary and important. Are we starting to see the limits of this whole plan? For a long time, the key to progress was having more data, greater processing power, and bigger models. It seemed like each new generation moved forward faster than the one before it. But even if the leap is huge, it seems to be smaller right now. This may be what happens when a technology reaches a stage where it starts to lose money. But this doesn't mean that AI isn't still growing. This, however, suggests that future advancements may not stem from the development of increasingly larger language models. They may come from data that has been cleaned up and chosen with more care, coming from smaller, more specialized systems, coming from designs that mix memory, reasoning, and a base in the real world. Or it could come from whole new kinds of machine learning that we haven't made yet. So we are left with the most important question of all. What do we think artificial intelligence is? An excellent calculator that never gets attached, or a companion that feels like they are alive? Which is better? A technology that makes people better at things, or a friend that thinks like a person? The release of the GPT-5 has given us more information than just the pros and cons of one model. We have been able to see where our ideas about AI are wrong, not always bigger or better. To be safe, people may have to die. There is a chance that intelligence on paper may not match intellect in real life. We are not unhappy with just one product. We are unhappy because we now know that the route forward is more complicated than the hoopla made it sound. The most important thing we might learn from GPT-5 is that we are no longer just watching AI grow. We are also learning how to think more deeply about what it means to make progress. Now that we've reached this point, we need to ask ourselves not only if AI has reached its limits, but also if our ideas about it have. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.